Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovia's inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. We've officially hit off-season protocols, and I'm wondering if Giglio needs to hit up the Kyocera printer and just do an entire wall of darts live betting odds. Are we on that tippy tappa again?
We are on that tippy tappa. I need the Chinese Basketball Association rules too.
What about the British Basketball League? If I saw that commercial one time on Bally Sports one more time, man, I was going to snap. The British Basketball League. Like the way the guy would say the bees, man. He just punched those bees.
He was
British.
I'm just mad because DraftKings, you can't say you have beach volleyball on the live line and then not present an actual number for you to bet on.
Wait, I'm sorry. I don't care about the beach volleyball.
Yeah.
Okay. See, you spend your time in off-season protocol looking at various live lines because you're a degenerate.
Okay, like it's tied 1-1 right now, and the one team is plus 1,000.
Okay,
that's a general purpose bet. No. How is that not a general purpose bet? Just because I don't know the names of the people and what they're playing or where they are
idea.
Or what the rules are.
I mean, I thought
all I can see is the score is 1-1 and the money line is plus 1, and it just moved. I'm taking it.
It's funny.
Principal.
You
took the Canes down, whatever. I'm taking the principal. $10.
You spend your time looking at these various live lines. I spent time yesterday poking around YouTube. Every so often I'll do kind of like an audit on what's working, what's not working on YouTube, while at the same time, and YouTube has to be viewed differently than the audio podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. Because with YouTube, man, it's about SEO and the right keywords and everything else. So occasionally I'll go in. I use this service called vidIQ, and vidIQ does a good job of allowing me to look up keywords to see what might be trending and what's not trending, XYZ. So we had a conversation with David Hale yesterday from ESPN about the ACC. And I was going to break the video out because that's just like cheap, easy views, man. Cheap, easy views.
Any kind of expansion, future of college sports.
Right. So
lawsuits.
I went into the keyword and it presented me all the videos that are currently about the ACC. And every single one of them is like this. It's just these cursed images of the ACC died today. This one guy.
Today.
It dies every day on YouTube. My guy Tim Montemayor, he's out on the West Coast. I did ESPN radio freelance with him a couple of times. Good dude. He's gone all YouTube. My dude's got over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, and every damn day he talks about conference realignment. Big 12 and Duke? ? There was another one that was about Duke getting kicked out of the ACC. These are headlines. Straight up headlines. I see who's the guy, the late kick with Josh Pate, right? Yeah. That dude's built up a great audience. He's got like 500,000 subscribers talking college football every day. Same thing. ACC on deathbed every single damn day. How?
I'm smelling like a rose that somebody gave me.
How?
On my birthday, deathbed.
I get sick of the topic. Like, are there other things going on? Can we talk about something else? But man, every damn day, these guys are doing it, and every single one's got like 20,000 views, 30,000 views. And I'm like, do I need it? Do I need to chase the algo, man?
Don't let the numbers consume you.
I gotta chase the algo. The algo will consume you, dude. But it won't consume you like private equity. So let's get to some news, shall we?
You mean you don't want to talk about Olympia?
I do not.
And drama. That's the name of the team in handball.
I do not.
Drama.
I do not. I'll tell you what, man. College sports is having a week, one way or the other. So the news from Pete Thamel at ESPN is that the ACC will join the Big 12 and vote to approve a settlement in the House versus NCAA case. We have not spent a lot of time talking about House versus NCAA. So let me give you the too long didn't read version about what's going on here, what this settlement is about. This is about back pay for Division I athletes who were kept from NIL compensation before the NCAA changed their policy back in 2021. Basically, it was like, whoa, hey, that I could have made all that money. this is ridiculous. You just can't change the rules like this. So they're going after the NCAA. And while they're looking for their back pay, they're also going after future broadcast revenue at power conference schools, meaning that if we understand these are the rules now, then you also have to allow for future considerations and to basically be in compliance with whatever was settled out with the NCAA in-house so that the future players can get broadcast revenue. So it's always in the best interest to settle. I was reading Matt Brown at Extra Points. I highly recommend his newsletter. And he pointed out that if this actually had gone to trial, and they were going to lose because the NCAA always loses. There's mechanisms in there that whatever the proposed settlement is, it could like quadruple. So they would have to owe even more, like almost like $10 billion if I read that correctly. So by settling, the NCAA and what is basically left of the Power Four leagues, and I guess the Pac-12 is included in this, and they're trying to fight back on this. But of the power conferences, they're going to have to pay nearly $3 billion in back damages. And then
that's not even that much
in the grand scheme of things, no. But they're also going to have to do some revenue sharing and also some NCAA reforms, again, to just kind of put yourself in compliance with whatever the House NCAA factor is.
Yeah.
And according to multiple reports, the NCAA is going to pay 40% of this settlement, and the rest will come from reductions in school distribution. So essentially, you know those units we always hear about in the NCAA? Well, you're not going to get as much as you used to.
Yeah, I think it was holding off $20 million.
Something like that
Per school.
And if I looked at some of the stats correctly, and this is why these athletic departments are scrambling, even though it was a theater last week with the UNC Board of Trustees and Bubba Cunningham and, ethics and fiscal responsibility, Bubba Cunningham and other ADs are scrambling to make these budgets work because this is money that you were accounting for that's not going to come your way because that money is going to get redistributed through this settlement. And that's where we are today, according to those multiple reports. These are things that should happen. We see all the money coming in. That money's coming in because we're watching these players play at a high level. It's ridiculous that they do not get a cut of this. And this is a good thing to get us out of what was a very manipulative, pretty much taking advantage of unpaid labor. So this is a good thing in the grand scheme, and it's up to the athletic departments to figure it out. Ain't my job. I'm just glad that the right thing is happening.
Yeah, it's indentured servitude is what it's been. I just want to take a minute, and I'm going to try to do this calmly because it's not an after dark. I'll try to watch my language a little bit, but
just think of my mom.
Okay, I like that.
Because my mom will not watch the podcast.
I like that. I'm really disappointed. There's a lot of times where people say, particularly in our job, right? Like, well, what do you guys do? You never really offer any solutions. You're just critical. You never, like, you've never done our job before. You never come, or the corollary to that from our former bosses. Oh, you never have any ideas.
Yeah.
How about this for an idea? Because let's add it to the list of all of my good ideas. And I'm not pretending to be the only person who had this idea. This smacks of the ACC 6 years too late. I don't know why I picked 6, but let's just say 6.
Okay.
Because they could have been an early mover on this. They could have been the first conference to decide we're going to cut the athletes in. We're going to share our revenue with the athletes. And you would have been ahead of the Big Ten. You would have been ahead of the SEC. You and I, we talked about this on the air. We've talked about even before we were on the air that if you really want to catch up to the Big Ten and the SEC, the way to get near them is you're never really going to catch them financially, but you can change how you build your mousetrap.
Yeah.
And the ACC going to Pete Thamel and making sure that he knows, hey, look, we're in on this. Look at us. Look at how progressive we are. Right. You had this opportunity. You blew this opportunity. And once again, you're playing catch up. That part of it, I will get out of the way and I'll just say, once again, I was right. And if you just listen every once in a while to some of the really good ideas I have, you would help yourself and just throw out the source of it. If you hate me, just take the idea. Do what Roger Goodell's doing. If you hate me, I don't care. Just take the idea. It's a great idea.
The problem with what you're getting at is, to paraphrase Han Solo in A New Hope, your sad devotion to that ancient religion, right?
Yes.
And that's kind of where we are. The people who are making these decisions that you think, because I agree with you, if you're thinking about this proactively, there's a lot of decisions that could have been made 5 years ago.
How about thinking you began by saying this is long overdue.
Yes.
How about you think about it consciously?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like the entire construct of college athletics is a bunch of predominantly white people making money off of the backs of black people.
And they wanted to keep it that way. Period.
And the second you let them transfer for free or even make money at NIL, it becomes, oh my gosh, it's over.
Yeah.
You've just ruined society.
The thing that
how will I ever root for my team ever again?
Well, I mean, considering the ratings continue to go up, and we just saw a Final Four run with a group of transfers that were kind of critical. I don't think anybody was giving a shit about NIL transfers or any of that stuff,
including UConn's.
Right,
their stars, by the way.
Weird, huh? But you bring up a point that I've been screaming the last couple of years. Throughout this entire process over the last couple of years, the onus has been on the players for ruining college athletics. No, the players are not ruining college athletics. The players are going after what should be given to them, a cut of the pie.
And they're not even going about it the right way, to be perfectly honest with you, with NIL. NIL is a tax.
It is a tax. So regardless, this
is getting closer to it.
The goal has always been to keep the status quo, period. Because everybody makes money, and if we can cut them out of that budget, it just means more money for
everybody
us.
Above the line makes money. Everyone who's participating doesn't.
That's what's ultimately ruined college athletics, and we're actually going to enter into a undiscovered country when it comes to college athletics with the news of the day. But because I do think these two things are tied together, one begets the other. But to wrap the point on being proactive, this is why at ACC Basketball Media Day back in October, I specifically asked and did not appreciate the bullshit of how, adding Stanford, Cal, and SMU were the things that we needed to do and we're being proactive. No, that is reactive, straight up. Reactive to a point where you're actually pissing off your media partners. Even if they're taking a reduction, that just means they still have to cut a larger check because you're adding 3 more schools. You pissed people off by being reactive,
right,
rather than doing the dirty work that might have pissed people off initially, and that is to form some sort of ACC Pac-12 deal. I was
say, by the way, I put this on the president's
it's
of
on
the
ACC
for having a chance to find someone to be their new leader and going with someone with a old-fashioned, entrenched, Mr. I've been on every committee in the history of the world, you knew what you were getting when you hired Jim Phillips.
They understood what they were trying to preserve.
Yeah.
It didn't work. So
Status quo.
And here we are, right? Here we are. So schools are going to scramble because they need this money now to meet the shortfalls of what they budgeted for. Obviously, this money is going to be going to the settlement.
To be clear, the real issue here for these schools and for people like Jim Phillips and people like Bubba Cunningham and people like Boo Corrigan who actually do care about sports other than basketball and football.
Yeah.
They are legitimately concerned about how do those sports continue to exist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I understand the challenge that's in front of them. My solution to them will always be what you should do is regionalize those sports.
Mm-hmm.
Stop sending your volleyball team to, Louisville. Stop sending your volleyball team if you're Rutgers to Iowa. Make it a regionalized sport. Play teams in your state. I think there's something like 18 Division I soccer teams in the state of North Carolina. I think you're going to be fine. You can sharpen your skills at home, and then Virginia's not that far away either. My gosh, there's teams in South Carolina you can play. You don't have to go to Puerto Rico or Hawaii to play. Some of these non-revenue sports. What? Fiscal responsibility? Things that you learned during the pandemic? No. Once again, Julio ideas that are spot on.
So here's the news from the morning. This is from Sportico. If you're not familiar with Sportico, they're one of these sports business publications like Front Office Sports, Sports Business Journal, etc. And this is summarized by D1 Ticker, which is a newsletter that I subscribe to. Sportico reports that Redbird Capital and Weatherford Capital are launching a collegiate athletic solutions private equity firm. Weatherford Capital. Why does that last name sound familiar? Oh, that's Drew Weatherford, Florida State. The guy who's been leading the charge with the Seminoles to get out of the ACC. And this was described as a college sports-specific investment fund, one that could lend as much as $2 billion to athletic departments across the country. The structure of the CAS, according to multiple people familiar with the plan, is to lend upfront money and operational expertise to athletic departments in exchange for a share of additional revenue generated under the partnership, i.e. a classic private equity firm arrangement, which, as you know how I feel about these things,
what do you think
brings about the enshittification of products?
What do you think the private equity firm is going to tell these athletic departments? Where should your volleyball team be playing?
Right.
Huh. Weird.
So, quick context: Redbird has a sports portfolio that includes AC Milan, Fenway Sports Group, the Yes Network, Alpine F1, and the UFL. They've got $10 billion under management, and they recently closed, according to Sportico, a fourth round of money with more than $3.28 billion. Actually, that's according to the Wall Street Journal. And then for Weatherford Capital, which was founded back in 2015, they've raised more than $1 billion since their inception. The group's portfolio is mostly technology and financial companies, though it invested in IMG Academy in 2023 when the company was sold by Endeavor for $1.25 billion. Weatherford also on LinkedIn, because he's got LinkedIn brain. Dude, don't spend any time on LinkedIn. He posted basically this, like, the old way is done. We must now profit and realize our assets. It's all freaking business speak. It's ridiculous. But for those who are unfamiliar with private equity, I highly recommend you do some quick Google searches so you have a better idea of what's going on. But the bottom line with private equity, again, the too long didn't read version of private equity, is that it's firms that make money by buying companies, extracting whatever profitability they have within the company, and then they sell the carcass off, strip it for parts, essentially, and they use the assets as collateral. All these things are leveraged through whether it's coming from the company's debt itself or we loaned you this money, now we expect to get this money back. How can we maximize the profits? Oftentimes it comes from selling off properties, selling off real estate, selling off your intellectual property rights. Like
playbook from the newspaper industry.
Yeah, they will. I was going to say, you having worked in the newspaper industry know all about this.
Hey, the Miami Herald, that real estate's really valuable.
Yeah.
And McClatchy, hey, you owe like $3 billion in debts, right?
I know what we could do.
Okay.
Hey, the News and Observer used to have a really prime real estate spot. That building.
Yeah, but Miami.
No, Miami was a serious deal. It was right there on the water.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure Miami is the one where Beckham tried to buy it to put the
yes, no, that's exactly where it was. I remember I remember driving past the Miami Herald buildings.
Catholic church shit, man.
Yeah, you want to talk? That was some prime real estate, man. Some prime real estate. But one other quick fact about private equity and these leveraged buyouts: roughly 20% of large companies acquired through these leveraged buyouts go bankrupt in 10 years. I bottom line it. If you like a product and private equity money starts to come in, you start to understand that the enshittification process begins.
Look, I know I kind of sort of hate it when we relate everything to us. I kind of sort of do.
You're the one who insists on it.
But when we started, there were people who were like, hey, I'll potentially be interested in investing in you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then my Sherpa guy was like, you don't want that.
No.
And I was like, what do you mean? Like, they want to give us money. We don't have any money. He's like, you right. But then whatever percent, let's just say you get actually good.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say you actually make money. Guess what? That rate stays the same the whole time you're in that relationship until you can pay him back or get rid of him. I was like,
I remember having a conversation. I was having a conversation.
So that's a bad idea is what you're saying.
I was having a conversation with somebody about that. They asked, hey, why don't you guys have, XYZ, like this one group in another market that went independent like you guys?
Yeah.
And I said, well, if I understand correctly, the reason why they've got that kind of studio, the reason why they've got XYZ is because they had an influx of investment money. And I said, the problem with that is they owe those people money back. And if they don't make that money back, that fancy studio and all this other stuff goes away.
And then they're the ones who also get to make all the decisions. You got to report back to them. And,
right. So I would rather have, the
draft day mug.
Drinking from the draft day mug, using
it on the floor.
Streaming, using streamer cameras and basically, DIY. hey, Ethan, you got any lights you're not using? Like that kind of stuff, right? So those are the kind of things that go on here. But again, the minute you start to accept this money, if you think, because
everyone's got a price tag, DiBiase. Everybody, right?
Right, but every single time with the athletic departments, it's been about control. If you think, look, you can wine and dine a booster.
Yep.
Because I'm guessing with the brain, the thought process is, well, we're accepting money all the time from people that expect things.
Right.
Yes. But when big money booster who wants to give you $10 million for a facility to put their name on it.
Kevin Keats.
Right? There is, you get to hear what they have to say. Mac Brown. This is a prime example.
That's right. You're right.
Mac Brown, and I'm only bringing up Mac Brown from a position of respect here. I want people to understand what I'm saying. I'm not knocking Mac Brown when I say this. But when Mac Brown talks about, I select about 6 or 7 boosters that I talk to, because why do you think those boosters get to talk to Mac Brown? Because you're giving them a shit ton of money. That's why. So there's a little bit of a give and take there. Here's the thing that the colleges are going to recognize real quick. These private equity firms, they don't care about chumming it up with Mac Brown.
No.
They don't want to be around
they don't want a sideline pass.
They don't want a pints with the pack tour, which is about to take place, right?
Yeah.
They don't want any of that shit. They want money. They want to make their money back, and they're going to find every nook and cranny to make that money back. It's not about, I gave you $10 million, let me have some nice seats. I gave you $20 million, I expect my name on that
on the
building.
Field.
On the field. Okay. That's not what they're asking for.
The Wayne Day family field. That's the first time it's ever been mentioned.
And that's, it's funny. There was a way was put to me about private equity in the form of somebody who has a house versus a flipper. When you have a house, it's within it's all within your interest to make it a home. You're invested. I bought this house. I want to make it mine. I want to make it work XYZ. Versus a flipper who comes in to make as much profit as they possibly can. They're not interested in anything about the home, warmth, soul, XYZ. That's the difference between a booster and private equity. The booster has a vested interest in having the school that they went to succeed. There's a connection.
The booster wants to talk too.
There's a connection.
They want the sign. Yeah.
Private equity, they don't give a shit.
Oh, no.
Absolutely not. So you want to talk about...
Kind of feels like a sunk cost to them, though, doesn't it? If the structure doesn't... Well, no, what I'm getting at is I would invest in the old NCAA where I didn't have to pay my employees.
But that's not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is they're going to look at trying to turn these things into television events. So like, look at the Super Conference, right?
Mm-hmm.
What these schools don't recognize, if you're Florida State, you're getting private investment, fine, whatever. But what's going to happen is the money's going to look for a way to maximize their brands. It's all about leveraging the brands and the IP and stripping it for parts. So you're going to get to a point where these private equity go, you talk about why are you playing
Louisiana Monroe?
Right.
Yeah.
They're going to get to a point where saying, why is Vanderbilt in this conference?
I hope so. Let's get there.
Why is Boston College in this conference exactly, guys?
Yeah.
What's Wake Forest adding to it? Their pitching lab? What's that really adding to what you're trying to do? And essentially, they're going to try to go to S tier the entire time. Anyway, this topic fires me up. And I'm all worked up.
I like it.
I'm all worked up. And here I was saying, it's going to be a short show.
Housekeeping.
I think I say it's going to be a short show.
Housekeeping.
Every show. Big thanks to Enovana. Check them out. ENOVANA.com. They're going to be at my house next week.
This cleaning service is bananas. VANANAS.
So again, check them out. Enovana.com. Green cleaning solutions. You can do a one-time cleaning. It's about that time. You might have some people coming over to visit for you for Memorial Day. Get the house completely cleaned with Enovana. Schedule the recurring stuff like I do. It's the best way to go about it. We got the podcast festival. Tickets go on sale this weekend, May 25th. Our expectation is it's going to sell out pretty quick because the Shutdown Fullcast people have their people who ride for them. Some of you might like us, but really, we get it. Shutdown Fullcast is the headliner. So the podcast festival is going to go live this weekend. Make sure you check out our social channels for that for more information. And again, the podcast festival will be taking place in August, but tickets go on sale May 25th. Big thanks to Two Roosters for sponsoring Ovius and Gilio. Did you find something new, Joe?
No, not new. I went in yesterday. I texted Jared. I'm like, I'm addicted. I have a problem.
To what?
The Guinness whoopie pie. I said, you really need to add that. to the regular menu, please. Pretty please. With whoopie pie on top.
Go to tworoosters.com to find the rotating flavors and get the whoopie pie while it lasts before Joe buys it all up. Maybe you should just buy a bunch of pints.
No, you can buy the
freezer.
big jug.
Oh, that's right.
It's $95. That's a heck of a deal.
You should buy that.
I gotta have nowhere to put it.
Come on, you don't have a fridge in the garage?
I do, but that thing's packed. I need a dedicated freezer.
You need to make some sacrifices, Joe.
Okay.
Need to make some sacrifices. Big thanks to Hometown Realty. Speaking of a home, I was using the buying a home, investing in your home, having that ownership. That's what it's about. And Hometown Realty can help you find that perfect home. Check them out online, myhtr.com. Again, that's myhtr.com. Maybe you will see me at Longleaf Swine later today.
Ooh.
It's Wednesday. They're open for dinner.
Oh,
might be burger time tonight.
Ooh.
Or maybe I'll mix it up. I've been having way too many burgers. Maybe I need to have a salad. They have all sorts of options. No, I'm not joking.
Right.
They have all sorts of options at Longleaf. It's not just about the barbecue. It's not just about the brisket, as good as they are. Great sides, great alternative meals as well, even some vegetarian options. So they have something for everybody at Longleaf. Check them out online, longleafswine.com. Maybe you're going to a cookout, you're being lazy. Go to longleafswine.com. They've got incredible sides, and they can put that in a container, and then you can have fun at your party. Joe, it's late May. You know what that means? It's time to talk about the NFL, because you can talk about the NFL anytime you want. It's 365 days a year.
Obviously.
We got free agency. We got to talk about that. We got the draft. Got to talk about that. We got OTAs.
Not OTAs.
OTAs, baby.
Is the third string tight end making some unbelievable one-handed catches?
You should have seen J.C. Horn lock up Brenson Burnson in coverage. It was amazing.
Wow. You trying to trigger Brownlow?
No, the breathless coverage of OTAs is on my list of Twitter things that I hate the most.
So earlier in the week, Dave Canales, new Panthers coach, addressed the media to talk about their week of OTAs. How are he and Bryce Young vibing, Joe? That's the important question.
Yeah.
Here's what he had to say.
He's doing fantastic with it, and the way that we do it is part to whole, really. So as we teach our concepts, just for an example, okay, so we say we have a pass concept, right? We're not going to use 6 different formations today to run this concept. It becomes something really good that we're effective at. We'll start to build it out. So for us, the formations are pretty vanilla, so that we can just teach the concept and what we want out of each route, the depth, the footwork for Bryce, for Andy, for Jack, and so that's the approach right now. So as I expect him to do, he's really mastering that part of it. The run game as well, just starting off with like the core of what our run game looks like, so that the centers can make the right calls, the backs can press it proper way, and the quarterback can get us to the right run versus the different looks.
That's a lot of football jargon from Dave Canales. A lot of football jargon. And in his press availability, there was even more football jargon. I'm not saying this is a knock, actually. I actually think this is a good thing for the Carolina Panthers. We spent a good chunk of time last year talking about Frank Reich and how he really fumbled the messaging. Also fumbled how they handled Bryce Young going into the preseason and how they handled him once the season started. Frank Reich was coaching the team that he wanted, not the team that he had, not the quarterback that he had in Bryce Young. Canales takes this job full, bright-eyed, understanding what exactly he has in Bryce Young and what he's going to try to do to make it work for Bryce Young. And while we can roll our eyes all of football jargon, I actually think this is good for Bryce Young and the Panthers and how they approach the season. Not a lot of bullshit about, don't sleep on this squad. They might surprise you. We got this point guard. Now he's trying to instill some concepts and make it football. And that's a good thing for the Panthers.
I laugh. It's 2024. Football never changes, man.
I know.
Football never changes. It goes back to Parcells, goes back to his mentors, goes back to Vince Lombardi.
Mm-hmm.
What he's saying is, we're going to run a couple plays. We're going to become really, really good at those couple plays. Because ultimately, that's what it's about. I always laugh at these coaches who are, you can't go to practice. Oh, I can't talk about after what I've seen. Like on Monday, I can't talk about plays because the other team never scouts. They don't know.
Right.
Ultimately, football is about, hey, what do we see the Chiefs do at the goal line? We're going to put a guy in motion. We're going to have a play. We're going to run a pick route, and we're going to get a guy open. Huh? Weird. That sounds like football to me. Dress it up all you want. You know what I mean? But ultimately, every successful coach knows this. You have to have basics that you can do. And yeah, like he's saying, you can dress it up as the year goes along. Ultimately, it becomes the same play over and over again. Paul Johnson was actually the master of this.
And this is what Bryce Young needs.
Yeah.
But he also needs.
That's what everybody needs. They need basics.
They need the basics. They never had the basics last year.
Yeah.
I know this sounds like I'm really setting the bar low for the Panthers, but you kind of have to.
I think they're going to be fine. I said the same thing last year, but I do think they're going to be fine.
Speaking of Bryce Young, this is from Sheena Quick, who covers the Panthers out in Charlotte. And this is something that this is something that has bled over from online to the real world. And I don't like it when it happens, because what happens online doesn't necessarily reflect what's going on in the real world.
Okay.
And there seems to be this weird connection between Bryce Young and Caleb Williams because of the trade.
Oh, okay.
Who the Panthers took with their trade with the Chicago Bears. The Bears end up being able to take Caleb Williams. I've seen some football aggregators go online and say, where would Bryce Young be in this year's draft when you have Caleb Williams and Drake Maye and everything else? And apparently, Bryce Young says he didn't notice he shook his head at the number 1 versus number 1 matchup between the Panthers and the Bears and Caleb Williams.
And then, Chicago, I've known Caleb for a really long time. Great dude. I have a ton of respect for him, for his family. I have nothing but love for him. I'm super excited for him to be in the league, super excited for his future. I'm excited to watch him. I feel like I had to address. I didn't know I shook my head. I'll be honest with you, but I'm excited for that. I'm excited I'm excited for all the games. Again, it's not basketball. It's not, you can't play one-on-one. There's no one-on-one matchups. This is a team sport. There's no. It's going to be the Panthers versus every team. I'm grateful for all the games.
But the problem is, it's not just the Panthers versus the other team, because that's not where we are with the footballification and quarterbackification of these things.
But just watching that video, when does Bryce Young have his wife get deliveries from the German lab? When does he have cousin Yuri come hit him up with the cream and the clear? My number one concern for him was he's just not physically impressive.
Yeah.
And even Drew Brees went to the vitamins. I can't remember the vitamin company that he endorsed forever.
Yeah, I remember which one you're talking about.
And you remember when Russ came back from Wisconsin, I looked at him and was like,
nano bubbles, baby.
What have you been doing? Like, all you've been doing is working out. You ain't going to school.
It hits
you just work out.
Hey, man, beer and cheese, dude.
I mean, no, he was jacked.
That's what beer and cheese will do.
And
to
I
you
was
in
like,
Wisconsin.
whoa. Bryce needs to get the Peyton Manning's wife needs to get some shipments for Bryce. He just looks like a munchkin. He just needs to get bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is an issue. I'm not gonna lie. It's certainly an issue. Certainly an issue.
Like, I'm watching Jaylen Brown last night, and I'm like, all this guy does is work out. This is what you need in your life.
Speaking of Drake Maye,
I was not happy with this last night.
I am
was really disappointed last night.
I feel like we need to reach out to the New England Patriots to see if we can
that'll
actually,
go well.
If we can talk to Drake
The
Maye.
Patriots are really going to hook you up with anybody.
Well, maybe you know what?
You listen to the words just came out of your mouth.
I have Mark's number still from a previous project, so maybe I'll hit him up and be like, "Hey, can we talk to Drake?"
That would be more successful,
because I think we need to have a little heart to heart with Drake.
We do.
I have questions.
We do.
So all throughout the offseason leading up to the draft for Drake Maye, we heard about how he and Phillip Rivers were connected. Phillip was working with Drake.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, look at that.
I like that.
Look. If I can change, you can change. We can all change. Wolfpack man, Carolina man, handshake. Everybody gets better. And then I'm reading a story about Jacoby Brissett. And Pack Pro.
Jacoby Brissett, huge Carolina fan, by the way.
Oh, is he? For real?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
That's funny. Well, then maybe that's why he wants to help out Drake Maye.
He always wanted to play basketball for Carolina because he was a basketball player growing up.
Who didn't want to? I mean, that's
the Michael Jordan.
Right.
It's the shorts.
It's got to be the shorts.
Those uniforms are amazing.
Anyway, so Jacoby Brissett, Pack Pro. He's, if I'm a mentor to Drake, that's great. But then you throw in that Carolina wrinkle, it's fine. What are we always told about Carolina? and Carolina guys.
But you can ignore state because they don't matter.
Mhm.
Just as Drake Maye explained to us, like if you can't get into college, all the people at state all wanted to go to Carolina, couldn't get into Carolina, weren't smart enough to get into Carolina. So, like, why do they matter? They don't. To Carolina.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So why is Drake Maye?
But if you're at Carolina, you ignore state and you hate Duke. Like
Yes.
that's a thing. Like Duke's your real rival.
So
Air quotes, the only rival, real.
can you explain to me why? This is from NBC Sports Celtics. UNC and Duke finding common ground in Boston. And here's Jayson Tatum, the brotherhood.
Never been more disappointed
Drake Maye,
in my life.
the family. And here's the bit.
You all right? Good to see you, man. Good. 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 Excited to get his first game, right? Get somebody holler at me. Actually, I can tell you, Luke, my first start, guard you guys do. When he had to. Yeah, I do remember playing. Yeah, first start is guard. Tough matchup. Tough matchup. How you doing? And again, some of this got Boston. Practice. Get it. I'm a big fan. I appreciate that. Go get it tonight, Dave. Take a picture.
So he's signing the jersey. And he's gonna give it to Drake Maye.
Again, if you're Webb Simpson and everybody likes you, you do whatever you want.
Oh, look at this. I love it.
Like we've decided that everyone loves Webb Simpson. He's the
Of
universal
course.
symbol for the triangle. He's the only one who can get away with everyone loving.
Of course,
Right?
of course.
But you're Drake Maye. You've drawn the line in the sand. You hate state.
Mm-hmm.
You grew up Carolina. You are quintessential Carolina family.
He brought up Luke matching up. He brought it up.
Like you, I don't get it.
I do get it, actually. I actually do get it. It's another classic example.
But from him though,
No,
he
dude,
understands the dynamics.
No. Even guys who understand the dynamics don't care,
Okay,
because athletes respect other athletes at the end of the day.
that's fair.
You know what I mean?
That's fair.
That's what it's all about.
I don't.
And what's it to Drake? And what's it to Drake Maye? Like, he wasn't in school when Jayson Tatum was at Duke. I mean, Jayson Tatum's been in the league for a hot minute now. You know, Luke Maye, that team, we've been done with that team for a hot minute now. So I don't. These are the types of things that I remember last week when we asked Taylor Vipolis from Meadowlark Media, because Drake Maye was at a hockey game. He's like, yeah, do you see that video of that guy doing like a lacrosse goal? I mean, like, you mean the dude who's literally down the street from you?
Yeah, but that's different.
But again, they're just wired a little bit different than you and me. And
That's fine.
fans care about this shit way more than the athletes do, because we hear about it too. We hear about them partying together.
Again, the words out of his mouth suggested that he understood the dynamic of this area. By putting on a player from a Duke jersey for this game.
No.
Just put a green Celtics hoodie on, dude.
You know what I think it is?
Have some pride.
You know what I think it is?
Have some Tar Heel pride.
I think
you think Luke Maye would ever wear a Duke shirt, a Duke jersey?
Well, it's not a Duke jersey. It's a Boston Celtics jersey. With the Duke player on
Oh
it. My God. Elsewhere in the world of football, speaking of local guys, Russell Wilson is now a Pittsburgh Steeler. Okay,
Speaking of Russ.
Justin Fields is now a Pittsburgh Steeler. Okay, interesting. So Justin Fields says, I'm not here to sit. I'm here to play.
I'm definitely, competing. I think, Russ knows that. We're competing against each other every day. Him being out there for me, that helps me getting better, us pushing each other. So, I definitely don't have the mindset of, me just, sitting all year. So, I'm coming in every day, giving it all I got, and, pushing him to be his best, and he's, pushing me to be my best each and every day. So, appreciate that.
Is that when Russell Wilson took it personally?
Potentially. It's such an unusual situation that the rest of the NFL can start some of the options that they have at quarterback and look at Justin Fields, who I think is really talented, and be like, I think I'd be better off with this, 6'7" guy from Purdue.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what? For a 4th round pick? Is that what that's what the Bears got for Justin Fields, right? A 4th round pick?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember.
Like, you're the Raiders. You're sitting there going, I'd rather have Aiden O'Connell than Justin Fields. Oh, okay.
I think it's just a classic case of, do I think Russell Wilson is good enough at this point in his career to last the entire season as the Pittsburgh quarterback?
I'll just say this: there's only one coach in the NFL who could potentially handle this situation, and he's the one who's in Pittsburgh now.
And that's the thing, because that's where the weird juxtaposition is, in that Steelers fans go hard. They love that team.
Not that hard, because they put up with Matt Canada for however many years, and then they put up with Ben Roethlisberger well past his expiration date.
He won a Super Bowl, so it is what it is.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah,
the one where he completed. Yeah, he threw for 60 yards.
Doesn't matter. He won a Super Bowl, so that's all that matters in that situation. And remember, Matt Canada, he signed a toilet seat once, so it's not like it's not like Matt Canada was beloved. Okay. No, I think, to your point, Mike Tomlin is probably the best guy to handle this sort of situations, because he's not going to deal with any bullshit.
Mike's the best guy to handle Russ. And I thought if they had just bought Russ in, I thought he could make that situation work. Obviously, they got Fields, who I think could be a starter for 28 teams, 27 teams. They got him at a scratch-off value. So I understand what they're doing. Now, you got to remember, Russ is not exactly the warmest and friendliest. He's not exactly the most popular player on any team that he's ever been on.
That's why Russ at no point is going to humble himself at this situation, because Russ believes in Russ. Like what happened in Denver, the way it played out in Denver actually made him look good by the way that Sean Payton handled it.
Yeah.
Sean Payton, the way that the Denver Broncos and Sean Payton handled Russell Wilson's exit actually put Russell Wilson in a sympathetic position, which makes me wonder, does Russ understand that he is not where
getting
he
a mulligan
was?
Here? Yeah.
That's not what this is. Does he understand that? He got the PR win, but does he understand the truth behind this, and that, man, it comes at you fast. And
speaking of, who's that quarterback that they're clinging to? Denver?
Oh, they're clinging on to
Stidham?
Yeah, Jared Stidham. Yeah, I think that's who it is. I can't keep track.
Like, on what planet do you think Jared Stidham's better than Justin Fields? That's weird.
Great question.
Like, I'm fine with moving on from Russ, but like, man.
Lastly, in the NFL extravaganza here, and just breaking out the sound effects again, because it's football time. This is from The Athletic. Jets rave.
Oh, no.
About Aaron Rodgers' return. I'm just going to read this. Yesterday, Aaron Rodgers was back in their center at Jets OTA, which is frankly a refreshing storyline after an offseason filled with his extremely not football stories. The QB said he feels like he can do anything on the field, a remarkable sentiment for someone who has an Achilles tendon, who tore his Achilles tendon last season. Meanwhile, you got it started. It is. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on Aaron Rodgers. I'm just simply saying it has started again, where despite the fact that Aaron Rodgers has spent a considerable amount of time telling you that he's not on the same page with the Jets, they're going to do everything they possibly can to love him up. They're going to love him up best they can. And I think it's hilarious that Mike Greenberg spent time on ESPN last week with the schedule release, bitching and moaning about the fact that the Jets are on primetime a whole bunch of times. Yeah, man, because people want to kind of like rubberneck the Aaron Rodgers Jets disaster. That's why they put it on primetime. And I think they start the season on a Monday night again.
It's the Jets win total.
The storyline is absolutely there for the return for Monday Night Football. And for Aaron Rodgers to say, hey, man, now that the football season is here, like, I'm locked in on football.
And only football.
Are you? Because based on your appearances with McAfee, you're not. I cannot wait for another dumpster fire season in New York. It's going to be glorious. It's going to be so good. What's their win total?
I can't find it.
Oh, okay. Well, we got time. We can spend.
Is he going to play more than 4 plays this year?
I think he'll play more than 4 plays. The question is, will he have more than 4
9
games?
9.5 is there.
Take the under. Absolutely take the under. Big thanks to Roback for sponsoring Ovies and Giglio. Check them out online, roback.com, RHOBACK.com. Use that promo code OG20 to get yourself some hoodies, polos, shorts. They're incredibly comfortable. And y'all,
I'm like, I added the Easter egg somewhere.
It's where'd you put it? The rope. Oh, there it is. It's over my face. There you go.
I like that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So with Roback, you can even get one of the hottest items of the summer if you just happen to be driving up and down Lassiter Mill Road. Squirts.
Ooh.
Stay ready, folks. Stay ready. Joe's
the All-Stars.
You're a Stay Ready All-Star today.
I am. I'm ready. On my tea time.
So go to roback.com. Use that promo code OG20. You can stay ready, not only in an outfit, but also eating wise, eating whole foods, getting
Fuel
the
up.
shakes, fueling up with protein. That's why you go to Happy Inhale. Check them out at Happy Inhale. Get the app. The app is clutch. More importantly,
Our friends.
get the smoothies because the smoothies are clutch.
No, the app is great because you get a free smoothie when you download the app.
Mhm.
Number one. Number two, it just makes ordering very easy. Add what you want, take away what you don't. Their prepackaged stuff though, like the way that they have it set up.
Mhm.
I don't mess with the ingredients or the dressings.
Yeah,
because
they ask-
they know what
Yeah.
they're doing, and they always ask.
They ask like, "Hey, do you have any modifications?
You want to take anything in?
No,
no, man.
I want the Bueno
sir.
Bowl. I want the Bueno Bowl as is.
I want that sauce.
Thank you.
Sir.
It's
Thank
really
you,
good.
please.
Big thanks to Whitaker and Hamer. Check them out online, wh.lawyer. Attorneys and counselors at law. Maybe you're taking something to closing, you're refinancing, maybe you've got contracts you need to look over. Look, they've got attorneys all across the state that can help you out with any number of legal matters. And you can start that process by going to wh.lawyer. Again, that's wh.lawyer.
Lightning round.
Don't be confused by us just going through a variety of NFL topics as the lightning round.
No, it's not the real deal.
That's an imitation. This is the lightning round. Because I don't transition with
I have the power.
Lightning round item number 1.
We talked about Drake Maye being at the Celtics game, getting his signature with getting Jayson Tatum's signature. Is that the right player he should have asked for, given that he wasn't the one who won the game at the end at the buzzer? Celtics, guys, what are we doing here?
Pacers are feisty, man. Love what they did at the trade deadline. Love how they modified that crew. Siakam was a great addition, but it took everything. It took Jaylen Brown. I mean, what a great shot. What a great play. Joe Mazzulla, tip your hat. It was a great play at the end of regulation. I thought Brown got away with a foul on Siakam on the play that turned the ball over and gave the Celtics that final possession of regulation. But you got to tip your hat to Jaylen Brown. He continues to be, I think, their best player. But then you see in overtime, you see Tatum, score eight of their points in overtime. So it's a real nice luxury to have a 1 and a 1A, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Lightning round item number 2.
You subscribe to this, and I don't quite understand it because you talked about like the Carolina Hurricanes, right? The Carolina Hurricanes haven't really dealt with a lot of pain. They went in 02, they won in 06. Of course, Canes fans would tell you, isn't a 10-year playoff drought kind of pain, right? So there's this weird.
Talk to somebody in Buffalo or Toronto.
That's a good point. So there's this idea that you got to suffer a little bit before you can enjoy it. Like that's classic Calvin and Hobbes. Calvin's dad, like that builds character, young man. And Calvin's like, get out of here, dad. So here is Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards after they advanced from
they vanquished the Nuggets.
And it was positioned as, history in the NBA says you have to lose big before you can succeed. Hold on, please. I am screwing up technology in real time here. So hold on a second. Let me do this. Hold on. Let me hit a couple buttons here. Let me get it right. Okay, here we go.
Lose big before you win. What is it about this team that says we lost last year? Yeah, but that's different. You have to lose at a bigger stage. Usually, teams. It's the playoffs. We lost last year. We lost the last 2 years. God damn! How much more we gotta lose? Yeah, how much you want us to lose? We're losing for 20 years. I mean, that's just the truth, dog. God damn!
That's the best press conference answer I think I've ever heard. How much do you want us to lose? That's good, man. That's good.
The problem is, man, it's not a problem, actually. It's good. It's good for the NBA that you've got some new characters.
Yeah.
And Anthony Edwards is that new character, man. And it's not only that he's
been around for a minute, man.
And it's not that he's just enjoying basketball, because that's key here. I think the problem that people have with Jokic, as much as he is a monster, it's a job to him.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking it. I'm simply saying it's hard to put your arms around somebody like that who just treats it like a straight up job and he'd rather go hang out with his horses, which I don't blame him. Anthony Edwards is exactly what NBA people want. A guy who clearly is a bit of a character, wants to win badly, shows at you the emotion on the court. And he says ridiculous things like to Charles Barkley, bring your ass to Minnesota, even though Charles was there for the Final Four in Minneapolis, and I guess he doesn't remember it, but then again, who does? So I love this. I think it's absolutely great.
Next up in the lightning round.
So we've gotten to the Stanley Cup Conference Finals, and we have the what would be the best for television ratings?
Nothing. Connor McDavid versus somebody.
You would think that's the case.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I would say, give me the Rangers, give me the Oilers. And then we could have the Mark Messier Bowl.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's on ABC.
Gosh, we would have Mark Messier talking about how great Mark Messier is.
Absolutely. We would have Spider-Man pointing me, Mark Messier in an Oilers jersey and him in a Rangers jersey.
Did you know when I won it with the Oilers after they traded Wayne Gretzky? Yeah, it's true.
It's true. It's true story.
And then I won it in New York, and they have only won it once since 1940. That was me.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a Mark Messier playoff award, and the Mark Messier playoff award goes to.
So that's what clearly he wants. But I want to dispel this notion that things are happening in real time to promote New York teams winning and New York teams being the reason why ratings will be good. Ratings are good because people want to watch the stars. If there's a star there, that's what you're going to watch. I don't understand this business, this antiquated notion that in 2024 we need the Knicks and the Rangers to keep winning because, man, the NBA could really use the Knicks in the finals. No, they could use Anthony Edwards being the star. That's what they need. And in the case of the NHL, I find it really weird that the NHL somehow has seen increases in ratings. They've managed to increase the cap, get good TV deals, all while the Rangers haven't won a Stanley Cup since 1994. How is it possible, Joe, that the NHL has been able to succeed with these Southern teams like the Lightning and the Hurricanes and the Panthers being good? So strange.
It's almost like people who watch hockey are the people who are interested in hockey and appreciate hockey at its highest level.
Yes, that would be
almost
nice.
like that.
It's almost like that. Almost like that. Lightning. Wait, whoa, did not work.
Lightning round item. It's not the same when I do it.
Lightning round item number 4. Lightning round item number 5. It doesn't sound the same. I'm weak without the voice.
Lightning round.
So we started the show talking about NIL and the back pay and everything else, but there's been an interesting twist in this week where if I said Jaden Rashada, where do you think that quarterback is?
One of the Arizona schools.
He's now at Georgia. Yeah.
For real?
Yeah. So Rashada, if that name sounds familiar, there was essentially an NIL bidding war for Rashada that involved Miami and it involved Florida. There was promises of millions of dollars that were not realized.
Initially at Florida, right? Because he was going to go to Miami and the Life Wallet guy, and then Florida came over the top.
Yep.
And he was like a 4-star, he was obviously a pretty good prospect, but it wasn't like top of the class, 5-star, can't miss, whatever.
Yes.
It was more of like, hey, this is what's left, so let's overpay. So Florida decided to overpay,
but they didn't have the money, so he ends up at Arizona State.
But they didn't have the money,
and now he's at Georgia.
Okay,
so this is related to what happens at Florida. From the Washington Post, former University of Florida recruit Jaden Rashada sued football coach, not the school, football coach Billy Napier.
Ooh, that's an interesting twist.
And a millionaire donor and others on Tuesday, claiming they lured him into abandoning a commitment to Miami with the promise of $13.85 million that never materialized.
So he's suing them not for the loss that they never gave him, but saying he had an opportunity to make X amount at Miami.
Yes.
And you cost me that X amount at Miami.
Yes.
Okay.
So Rashada's civil complaint reads, all these promises ultimately proved to be lies. They never had the money. Litigation between the active quarterback and an opposing coach adds a highly unusual chapter to the rivalry between Florida and Georgia. That's one way to go about it. And the lawsuit escalates what has already been one of the most prominent scandals in the nation era of NIL, in which college athletes have for the first time been able to earn branding income related to their sports.
I'd be interested in Kelly's take on this. An actual lawyer. It just feels like a case that's really hard to win, no?
In what sense?
You have to prove, like,
are there contracts?
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, you left. You're the one who said, I'm not going to Miami anymore.
But John,
you made that choice.
The Life Wallet guy, John Ruiz, if I understand correctly, in order for this to be allowed, Ruiz actually ended up being paid money to sort of like release Jaden Rashada.
From Florida.
If I read the from Miami. From Miami.
Okay, so if you have that, then that's different. If you have a trail, that's different.
Well, yeah, there's got to be a paper trail, and there's also verbal agreements. I mean, you enter into these contracts. Even
you could say word is bond, but
I mean,
I don't think that goes very far in a court of law.
Especially if you've got records of them saying that, hey, we're going to give you this. Don't worry about the money.
If you pull the Donald Sterling and have a recording of it, then sure.
Yeah, I mean, like Rusty Hardin's the lawyer who is representing Jaden Rashada.
Oh, he's got a chance then.
Yeah, he's got frontier law, man. Rusty Hardin.
Now, hold on a second.
Right.
You didn't tell me that part.
Yeah, Rusty Hardin's on the case, my
Rusty
dude.
ain't coming in.
No, sir.
Rusty does not come in on a loser.
No, sir.
He is not a Jesse Holmes, let me fight for my cause, even though I know I'm going to lose. He is a coffee, capital C, is for closers.
So if I read the complaint correctly, well, this is my big takeaway from this. Again, we focus on the players. And I remember when the Jaden Rashada thing happened, everybody was all up in arms about like, how dare he ask for this kind of money? I'm like, well, you are what the market says you're worth.
Yeah.
And if Florida thinks you're worth $13 million, well, then that's what the going rate is. Just like if you think Nick Saban's worth $10 million and you can justify every reason why Nick Saban was getting $10 million, fine.
Saban
the economy, this and that. No, Saban was worth more. I totally get it.
Yeah.
But so are these players.
Yeah.
So I had no problems with the amount of money that was being doled out there. I don't know why anybody was pocket watching at that point, but you have to follow through. And that was always the concern where this is the other side of NIL. Oh, these players are taking these schools. Well, if you're going to promise money and you're going to negatively affect somebody's trajectory, well, there have to be consequences for that.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting that the coach is involved because how often have we heard, well, the coaches and the collectives are supposed to be separate. The Gator guard at the time is not supposed to be talking with Billy Napier, all that kind of crap. But we all know it all kind of works in concert.
I'm just waiting for remember the SMU scandal unfolded because they stopped paying the player.
Yes.
I'm waiting for that in the NIL era. Well, you promised me this. Where's my check? Well, here's the thing. You threw for 4 interceptions and we lost to our rival, and I don't feel like paying you anymore.
Finally, in the lightning round.
Joe.
Sir.
What is the common complaint about NC State basketball?
Up until this year, man, I really had enough of talking about either 83 or 74. Like, hey, can we just talk about like maybe Fire and Ice or like Todd Fuller, or like just give me something else to glob onto, please.
So I guess in the world of Carolina basketball,
they got a lot of things they can talk about.
They have so many things to talk about.
As I always tell you, the 2000 Final Four team would have a statue if they were at NC State. And we never talk about the 2000 Carolina Final Four team.
You've got multiple national championships to talk about. You have Michael effing Jordan.
The uniforms, Joe.
The Argyle.
Yeah.
It's the shoes. All that stuff, right? Yeah. But instead, I've noticed a pattern as of late. They can't stop talking about Rashad McCants. And I'm kind of at a loss why. So Theo Pinson on his podcast had Raymond Felton on. And they're all part of the 2005 National Championship squad. And this ties back to, I guess, Theo Pinson was talking about Rashad McCants having talked to somebody, and they was talking about him and Justin Jackson were riffing on.
Well, Rashad went on with Gilbert Arenas and was basically like, I had 15 points in the first half of the national championship game. Then they started to freeze me out because it was Sean May's birthday.
Right. Because
Roy Williams
because that's what Roy Williams cares about.
Well, didn't care about. Keep in mind, Roy Williams had never won a championship before. It was all about Roy making sure.
Gotta make sure that Sean's happy on his birthday.
His birthday.
That's what matters the most.
This is the same person who said Roy Williams was picking him up for tutoring sessions. And this is the more ridiculous thing that it's arguably the more ridiculous thing that he's ever said in his life.
Easily. So Theo's got Raymond Felton on, and Rashad McCants came up again. Yeah. And here's what Felton had to say.
Yeah, man, I ain't gonna keep talking about old dude, man. At the end of the day, man, I wish him all the best. I wish him all health and all of that. But bro, just leave
Leave it
us out
alone.
of your mouth.
Yes,
man.
bro.
Just leave us out of your mouth. You know, I ain't got no problem with you. I don't know why you got a problem with me or any of your other teammates that play with you, but you know, we wish you no harm and wish you nothing but the best. Man.
Yeah. But
That's crazy.
So there you go. That's Felton talking about Rashad McCants. I have a theory.
Okay.
I have a theory. And I it's why I set up the last lightning round item the way that I did. Carolina has so many good things to talk about that you
Endless.
have to pinpoint hold up. Where didn't it go right for us? What's the one thing that can get us all riled up? You know, those types of things. And I guess that's what Rashad McCants is.
Well, Rashad has
NC
been
State-
vocal about it too. So
He
I
has.
have no problem with their original comments about it. And I have no problem with bringing Ray on and being like, hey, like, what was the deal?
Totally get it.
Because he had more comments earlier in the podcast about like that game itself and, you know, Roy, and it was really good stuff. So I have no problem with them like going over this stuff because I enjoy hearing from the principal players involved. Like
Absolutely.
that's good stuff to me. But you're right. It's becoming like you have all of these good things. Like just have an Ed Cota appreciation hour. Like I said, like I love Ed Cota.
Hey man, give me some Julius Pepper like
Peppers.
mixtapes, man.
Yeah, bring it back.
Give me him doing put it to PODs. Here comes the boom. I got Julius Pepper's dunks. I got him on the football field. Just put it all in there, man. I'd be all about that. But here's where I'll extend my theory on this, right? So Rashad McCants is like the outlier. So people are fascinated by the Carolina family,
the one black sheep.
one guy who is the outlier in the equation. So I totally get that. Whereas you juxtapose that to say NC State, where the first thing that came to my mind was NC State's got so much shit that they can complain about, so many things they can pinpoint. I mean, it's the whole genesis of NC State shit.
Right.
That even one of their own former guys, who was the Eric, whoever it was? Eric Leak, who just kind of systematically fucked up NC State with his, being around the program.
Yeah.
That's like low on the totem pole. Like if NC State had success, it'd be like, why is the call coming from within the house with Eric Leak? And that would be the point of obsession. But it's like, they're like, Eric Leak. Yeah, that's man, shit. That's like 18th on the list of things.
Not even near Chandler Parsons. So.
That's probably what it is.
And that is
the fastest moving segment on the internet.
No. This is the fastest growing segment on the fastest growing podcast in the Raleigh-Durham metro area.
Got it. A lot of competition on that front.
We own it.
I was looking for, sir.
We're almost there, Joe. We're almost there.
I'm sorry.
We got bills. No, don't be sorry. We got bills to pay. And you want to save money because you have bills to pay. That's why you contact State Farm. Contact Matt Davis, InsureGarter.com, VOGinsurance.com, or call them directly at 919-779-8277. You have a list of issues, right? Like we were just pointing out all the list of things that you might have a problem. List of grievances. The last thing you want on your list of grievances is paying too much for your insurance.
No, save yourself some money. Have a conversation. 919-779-8277.
In fact, one of my grievances would be these darn mosquitoes. Well, you can handle that as well, thanks to Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. Check them out, bugsbite.com. You can bundle and save. Contracts, not a thing. You can pay as you go. I know with the mosquito treatments, it's worth it to bundle a bunch of mosquito treatments for your summer. You save money that way. And of course, you can take care of the inside of your house with bugsbite.com. And Butcher's Market. I just talked about being outside, right? You don't want mosquitoes bothering you while you grill. Folks, Memorial Day weekend, it's officially grilling time. So head on over to the Butcher's Market. I know a lot of y'all's pools have grills, public grills for everybody to use. Stunt on them. You don't want a little burnt hockey puck burger. No. Get the big slab of ground beef they've got at the Butcher's Market and get the hot dogs too.
Delicious.
Size matters.
So good. All the options. Really can't go wrong.
TheButchersMarkets.com. Again, that's TheButchersMarkets.com. Now, are you ready for it?
Hey, baby, I hear the Hey Joe questions call in. You made me tingle yesterday. You shared a crank arm social post that had like the events that they have going on.
Mm-hmm.
They got the wolf coming over there. The food truck.
Oh, you got the wolf?
You bringing the wolf?
Yeah, man. Wandering Wolf is good
That's all
stuff.
you had to say.
Wandering Wolf is really, really good
Crank
stuff.
arm. They have a lot going on. It's not just that bike arm. It's not just very drinkable beers.
Bike pump. Bike pump. Yeah, they got a lot of stuff going on. An incredible selection of beers, and it's all at Crank Arm in downtown Raleigh. Of
West
course,
Davie Street.
I mentioned Butcher's Market. You can get Crank Arm beers at the Butcher's Market. Crank Arm Brewing.
What a crossover.
.com. All right, let's go to the OG sports phone for Hey Joe. Let's see what we got here.
Hey guys, it's Rod. Really enjoyed my interview with you guys the other day, so I wanted to give you guys an exclusive. I have been writing short poems for the last 6 months, and I thought I would share one that I wrote in the style of Julio. It's called Igor. In the heart of New York, where the ice gleams bright, stood a goalie named Igor, a star of the night. With pads and mask, he stood tall in the crease. His saves were like magic, a never-ending feast. Fans cheered with joy, their spirits so high, as Igor made saves that reached for the sky. A hero on ice, with reflexes so quick, every person wanted to suck his dick. From Broadway to Brooklyn, his name was well known, a king in the rink who liked to get blown. Love the show, and bye for now.
Oh my God. Oh, it's not ready for that.
That, for the record, that was not Rod Brindamore.
He didn't say Rod Brindamore. He just said Rod.
No. He was trying to act like he was Rod. It was not Rod. That wasn't his number. It was a 919, but not Rod's number.
Get yourself somebody to call your hotline with that. Wow. We might need to find him. Get him a prize, man. Wow.
Whew.
That was really good.
Speaking of the OG sports phone, you can text it. We actually got a text from a 919 area code. Are we getting a Raleigh regional? Pac 9 is on fire.
As long as they're only playing ACC teams on weekends, it'll be fine.
The ACC Jamboree is this weekend. Now, look, I can make fun of the Jamboree all day because it's inconsequential. Or is it?
It would be really nice for Elliott to win one. I would like that.
No, I'm not even talking about. I'm not even talking about them winning. Look, NC State shit is over.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's his turn. I would like that.
That's all I'm saying. Kevin Keats, he broke NC State shit. No, what I'm getting at is, as good as NC State has been down the stretch, an early exit from the Jamboree would affect this.
Listen, 2 years ago, they made the final and didn't get in the tournament. So
yeah,
if you're Elliott, you're sitting here going, I want to make sure.
Yeah.
and obviously with their ACC record, but I do think, obviously between ECU, NC State, UNC, you're talking about 3 schools. And, then you also have to factor in Clemson, who's really good. The NCAA has shown that it has an aversion to giving all of those schools, South Carolina, the ability to host. So you want to differentiate. Carolina had the best record during the regular season. They're probably at the head of the list. Mm-hmm. ECU has been struggling down the stretch, but guess what? They beat Carolina in their season series, and they won both matchups with NC State. So, you're going to have a hard time leapfrogging them. Duke is another team that can put themselves in NC State's pod. So I think there's value for Duke and NC State for sure in winning this tournament, in addition to, NC State hasn't won it since 1992.
From another 919 area code, I just wanted to let you know that your Inovana jingle is an official earworm. It was in my head earlier this week. I was whistling the tune. Yes, I'm that irritating. I'm that whistling guy at work. This morning, I heard a coworker whistling the same tune. That makes it official. Earworm.
I began this podcast by saying how right I was. I love being right. Jingles that was you, man. It was all you. You've been asking for a jingle since the very first day that we worked together.
I've been asking for jingles for 15, 20 years, dude. I have wanted so desperately to have like an old WFAN type, sports radio 66 WFAN.
Yeah, we need to get the sands of the hourglass too. That's the next step, to get the the quartet.
That would be a good one. That will be a good one. All right, to the YouTube comments from Michael. It would be a shame if a deal couldn't get done with Nate. Just homegrown, uber talented, gains the zone with ease. Yeah, look, I don't necessarily disagree with that, but sometimes you got to crack a few eggs to make that omelet. From Clark, show up for the hockey talk, but stay for the dad parenting discussion. Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to vibe with another dad to make sure that I'm not being a dick. Like John on the YouTube comments, I sometimes look up and see a kid looking into my refrigerator at night who is not my kid. My son's buddies feel like they're at home here, but they also know I will give it to them if something is up. I think that's how it works, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure. Again, with the suffering and the losing thing, this is again from Michael. My Rags team suffered through over 50 years of losing and gut-wrenching losses before finally reaching the pinnacle, which also could have easily ended at heartbreak rounds 3 and 4. It's been another 30 years since. Okay, I get that. I get that. And this is from yesterday's show on YouTube from Baypack. The big thing was Cal Stanford coming in at 30% when they joined the ACC, and SMU for 0 for the next 6 to 7 years. It was a short-term money grab. ESPN can be mad, but they also are part of the reason why the ACC went that way. And ESPN is still getting a hell of a deal now, with more West Coast Conference. Yes and no. Yes and no. I understand the West Coast content part, but not those teams in particular.
And we're all fully aware. I actually took an SMU ticket yesterday because the number's really good to win the ACC.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
We're all fully aware that Cal is going to beat somebody at home. I do believe it will be NC State in October. But the state of Stanford football, you think all of these Stanford basketball players have been leaving that program because of NIL? Like, what do you think their football program looks like?
Well, not only are they leaving Stanford or Cal for NIL reasons, Stanford specifically, but Cal also the travel. A lot of these athletes at the Olympic sport level are going, F this crap.
Yeah, I'll go play at Pepperdine. And like I said, all of my regional things that I love.
Right.
Yes.
But, ESPN can be mad, but they're part of the reason why the ACC went. No, actually, it's not. ESPN is not the reason why they went that way.
No, the contract is the reason they went.
The ACC went that way because they hadn't been proactive enough. Straight up, John Swofford was proactive.
Yeah.
What we saw here recently, adding Cal, SMU, and Stanford, was reactive. That's not to say that you can't survive being reactive. For instance, the Big 12 has mostly acted in a reactive way to losing schools.
Still a Jedi mind trick. I'm fascinated to see how it plays out.
We'll see. We shall see. Let's see, from Wolfpacker, I'm a watch guy, but if you get into swatches, I will demand your man card be turned in. Here's the thing, Wolfpacker. There's no such thing as a man card. It's a social construct put on
Speaking
men.
of watches.
What do you got there?
It's
You got your Garmin.
watch.
You got your golf watch.
that time.
The Chad. This is actually the most appropriate thing from a guy called the Chad, because it's very big Chad behavior here. Where are the shows with 2 O's on your takes from the ACC meeting? Buddy, you're commenting on the podcast, YouTube, where we do talk about it, but whatever. I need the same energy toward UNC that y'all had toward FSU. Be 10 toes down.
What does that mean? Like being critical of UNC?
I think this is where the disconnect is. We have, and we can spend some more time talking about this tomorrow because we didn't talk about it earlier today in relation to, tell you what, this will be a tease for tomorrow.
Okay.
We got some more ads to read before we say goodbye.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
This is a good problem to have. I know you want to get on the golf course, but sit tight. We have to keep our corporate champions happy, including our friends at Breeze Through. So
they are happy.
The point is,
there are people.
The point here is, Florida State went about it in such a theatrical circus way that wasn't necessary. And it also tells you that they can bang the table all day, but what ultimately is the out? Where are they going? And the reason why Carolina was discussed in the way that it is, and Paul Feinbaum apparently referenced this on Monday, Carolina, of the ACC schools that could be leaving, Carolina's the one that actually would get snatched up in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And the reason why we've been looking at it, that perspective from Carolina, is that they don't need to do this shit. That's the point. That's the point that we've been making.
Meaning the litigation part. Or
not even the litigation part, but just to be loud and wrong.
Okay.
That's what I'm getting at. Like the dude from the Board of Trustees was just loud and wrong. Now, I know it pays to be loud and wrong in certain areas, but in this particular case, I think it's foolish. But here's what I'll tease for tomorrow. Because lost in all of this conversation about who's going to go where, Florida State gets their influx of private equity. Clemson finds their way out. You're getting more money, but are you getting in the best position to, do the thing that you're supposed to be doing, and that is get to the college football playoff and win? That's a discussion we'll table for tomorrow. In the meantime, want to thank Breeze Through for sponsoring us from the get-go, our long-standing corporate champion. They're the best. Check them out. Support them because they support us. Go to breezethrough.com. You can download the app. You can get the coffee. Most importantly, you can get gas to go along with the snacks.
Speaking of apps,
and some scratchers.
$5 a gallon, man.
Yeah, man, you save money that way. Don't sleep on the scratchers. I won $50 on a scratcher the other day.
Not OG money, I hope.
No, it was not OG money.
Never saw that $26. Still worried about it.
What $26?
The Beer Cave show day we bought.
Do I owe you $26? I do?
Put it on my tab.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll get you $26. Hold on a second.
You actually have cash?
Hold on.
That would be super impressive.
Here's exactly $26.
Why do you have $26? Why do you have cash?
Don't ask questions.
Okay.
It's not material to the equation. There's your $26.
Boom.
Happy now?
Goes into the fund.
There you go. Take it to Nature's Relief. Get your get one of those nowadays shots.
The easies.
Hell, man. That's
Drink
what you need to
easy,
do.
baby.
Go to naturesreliefhempstore.com. Again, that's naturesreliefhempstore.com. I'm going to put together the sizzle reel of you being just zapped.
Are you okay?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that sizzle reel together at some point. It's on my to-do list. So in the meantime, you can check out.
Handle the hippie sip that way. That's the part that I'm still.
The thing is, have we not established that you are a lightweight?
No, I understand that, but I was like zonked, and you were like,
anything puts you to sleep.
Fair.
Technically, I think the only thing that doesn't put you to sleep is golf. And maybe tippy top of basketball. But if you do need help with sleep, which is what I did, I actually picked up they've got these gummies that have like the CBD, the CBDN, no Delta 8 or Delta 9, any of that stuff. It's really good. So check it out, naturesrelief.com. It's actually been helping me out get some deeper sleep. And of course, big thanks to Sporkle, Jayson, OG Scoreboard, an OG. He helped us out for our OG birthday bash, and it was a lot of fun. You can have fun at various trivia nights across the triangle thanks to Sporkle. Go to sporkle.com/OG Triangle. It's a Thursday. That means it's music trivia at Shady's. Sunday, Jason's at Driftwood Cantina. They also got spots at House of Hops. Big fan of House of Hops. A lot of great beer selection. You can buy Crank Arm beer at House of Hops, and you can also take part in Sporkle trivia. That's going to wrap it up for today's show. We will see you tomorrow.